So, Tony, with LeBron going and signing with the Lakers for a 4-year deal, fourth year as an opt-in, are the Lakers title contenders?
No. How could you possibly say that? Especially with the signings that they created with JaVale McGee, Rajon Rondo, and Lance Stevenson. Are these the cerebral players he was talking about that he needed to sign with and he needed to play with? I mean, he's almost 34 years old. A complete rebuild in LA, there's more to it. There's more to this.
All right, Rick. So LeBron signs with the Lakers. We're not shocked by that. Honestly, I wish he would have stayed, but we all kind of knew he was going to leave. And the Lakers had the money. He has 2 homes in LA. We kind of knew he was going there. Do you agree with Tony? Do you think they won't be contenders next year?
I don't think they'll be contenders. I think they'll make the playoffs just because LeBron's on the team. Here's the roster and give you what I think about these players playing alongside LeBron. So you got Lonzo Ball, who may or may not have an injured knee. I don't know, or his dad's making that up so he doesn't get traded. But he can't shoot. Kyle Kuzma is inconsistent at best. Brandon Ingram, I like Brandon Ingram. He shot 39% last year from 3, so I think he can fit alongside LeBron pretty well. But then you got Josh Hart, which I don't even know what he can do on the court. Luol Deng is 40 years old and is making way too much money. And he can't shoot either. They've got JaVale McGee now, like Tony said, they signed him. He's just an absolute train wreck on the floor. Rajon Rondo can't shoot anything outside of about 10 feet. And Lance Stevenson is hot or cold as well. So we've all watched LeBron pretty much for his entire 15-year career. And the one thing that he needs to be successful and a LeBron James-led team needs to be successful is great shooters around him to space the floor. Otherwise, your team's ceiling probably around 50 wins if they're lucky, but they'll probably be a 6 or 7 seed in the West.
Yeah, I mean, we both can attest, all three of us can attest that we've watched enough Cavs games where they take 1 or 2 shooters off the court. I mean, it's not the same Cavs team, right? We saw Kevin Love go from a ball-dominant forward in Minnesota to being a stretch 4 where 80% of his shots are coming from beyond the three-point line. So adding Rajon Rondo, who I guess shot about 36% in the last couple of seasons, isn't terrible. Lance Stevenson is erratic at best. And KCP was on the team last year. I mean, maybe he's a 6th man, but you're right. Lonzo Ball, not a great spot-up shooter. And, I mean, Luol Deng is a waste of space at this point. I mean, he's just writing out his contract. So, Tony, does it make any sense to you what the Lakers are doing with their roster?
It does, but it doesn't. Because what it seems like is the Lakers have decided they're going to punt on this year in hopes of moving on to the free agent class of 2019, which is star-studded already as it is with you got Klay Thompson, Kyrie's on the block, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi. Then you don't have to give up anything at that point. I mean, there's going to be superstars for the taking if they've decided they're going to punt. However, if they're looking to be a contender now, I can't see it. I mean, I like Ricky was saying, I think it's more of a fringe idea. And I'm not sure where LeBron's thinking unless it's about LeBron making his and not worrying about anything else.
Tony, one more thing. Do you think LeBron had any input on the guys they were signing?
I've heard that Magic's been in touch with him, but all these decisions have been his. And if it is his decision, I'm interested to know, in this stage of his career, where is LeBron going to go with his evolution? Because we know LeBron has evolved as a player into the great player that he is, even though he shows no loyalty to his hometown. However, it's so questionable this year on what they're trying to do.
All right, Rick. So Tony kind of said that he thinks the Lakers are punting this season. Do you think that's wise? You have LeBron in his prime, maybe on his way out of his prime. Is it wise for the Lakers to punt next season and just wait till 2019?
I don't think it's wise, given that LeBron is coming towards the later stages of his career, and obviously you don't want to waste a season at all. I think that it's probably necessary just because the gap between the Warriors and the rest of the league is so wide that you could trade for Kawhi possibly this season, but you could possibly also have to go up Brandon Ingram because it sounds like that's what the Spurs want. Brandon Ingram, by a lot of people that know a lot about basketball, think he has a ceiling of being Kevin Durant 2.0. So I would never give that up for, what's a team with Kawhi and LeBron? Okay, you might win 55 games. Maybe you get a 4 or 3 seed. You're still probably going to get beat by Houston and definitely going to get beat by the Warriors. So I think they're doing the smart move, signing a lot of one-year deals that they can get off the books next year in the free agent market and keep, the team competitive, but not necessarily constrain themselves into what they have this season. I also think it's like an interesting point to know if these players actually even want to play with LeBron. I mean, it sounds like Kawhi doesn't really want to come to LA now, or at least he's kind of saying, well, he might play for the Clippers and not necessarily the Lakers. And then he doesn't really want to be in the Clippers because he doesn't want to be under LeBron's shadow. So, Paul George, obviously, we thought was a slam dunk to go to LA. He stayed in Oklahoma City. So it's kind of, one of those things that maybe the Lakers, maybe the chatter on the insider chatter, not necessarily what the media is getting, is like Kawhi's like, hey, don't trade me to LA because I don't want to play with LeBron and I'll leave if you do. And the Lakers are like, okay, let's just develop our young talent that we have and try to put pieces around LeBron that way. I don't know. It could be a possible explanation. But it certainly seems like, I do agree LeBron's a hard player to play with just watching his style. So it certainly seems like a lot of these younger players are not necessarily lining up to younger superstars, I'll say, is not necessarily lining up to play with him.
Right. When I saw LeBron James sign to the Lakers, like I said, it wasn't a shock, but I think everyone kind of expected the second shoe to drop, right? Who are they trading for? Were they getting Kawhi? What shooters are they putting around LeBron? I mean, when they signed JaVale McGee, and Lance Stevenson, wasn't like 4 years ago where Lance Stevenson was blowing in LeBron's ear when he was at Miami? Are they assembling a team of enemies of LeBron? Rajon Rondo, they went at it when he was with the Celtics and he was with the Heat. So it's all very strange what they're doing. Obviously, the one-year deals tells you, I think they are playing for 2019. Can they get someone else? They need to. And I'll be real honest. I love LeBron. He's my favorite player. He's the best player I've ever seen play. But if they had a really terrible season next year, I would not be upset about it. It's good. What's the point of making the playoffs for them, honestly? In my mind, what good is having all these veteran players on the team? Like, how does that make Kyle Kuzma better? How does that make Brandon Ingram better? Like Rajon Rondo stealing points from Lonzo or stealing minutes from Lonzo Ball. Is that helping Lonzo spot up shoot better? I don't know. But this year is definitely not doing anything. They're not going to be productive for them. The Cavs roster had a lot of bad players on it, but at least they fit around LeBron a little bit better. Tony, so Lakers making the playoffs, in or out?
Well, when you look at it, you got your top tier of Warriors, Rockets. They're 1-2. But after that, there's just so many, I guess, wannabe contenders in the Western Conference. Of you have the Trailblazers, the Thunder, the Lakers, the Pelicans, Spurs, the Nuggets, the Jazz. You could even throw the T-Wolves in there, the Mavericks, and even the Clippers. You have all these teams battling for the 3 through 8 seeds in the West. It could make for very interesting basketball, to say the least.
All right, Rick. So Lakers playoffs hopes, in or out?
I think they're in, but as Tony said, it's going to be I wouldn't be shocked if they don't make the playoffs. Last year, the Nuggets missed the playoffs, and they were finished, 2 games behind Utah, who was the 3rd seed. It's just, it's the West is so competitive and so balanced at this point, and every team's getting better too, which is, kind of the interesting thing, right? So Denver's gotten better this offseason. You've got the Jazz, got another year of Donovan Mitchell. He's getting better. Oklahoma City brought back their nucleus, their core. The Timberwolves, Jimmy Butler was injured part of last year. He should come back healthy. So I think it would be a very I think they'll make the playoffs because I'll never bet against LeBron, especially after watching him what he did in the playoffs last year with that really terrible Cavs team. But, I wouldn't put him anything higher than a 6th seed.
So, obviously, even if the Lakers aren't good, at least they have LeBron for 2 more years. Something that the Cavs, the last couple of seasons, could not. say about themselves.